Okay, we are live, patients. Hello and welcome to the second in our four-part series celebrating National Mentoring Day. So it's a day that Chelsea Baker started in 2014. So it's our 9th birthday, or rather the National Mentoring Day's 9th birthday today. So I'm absolutely delighted to be hosting some wonderful mentors and speakers for your benefit, for your CPD, and it's all with their compliments. So I'm Dawn Campbell, your IAPC&M host for the day. And today, right now, as our second speaker in the hot seat is Patience Ogunbona. So hello, Patience.
Oh, hi, Dawn. It's nice to be here.
It's nice to see you again. So
Thank you.
we've promoted Patience biography anywhere and everywhere, encouraging you all to tune in for this very valuable 45-minute masterclass with 15-minute Q&A. But I just wanted to share with you a couple of things. I like to find out something a little bit different, something interesting, unique that maybe everybody doesn't know about our guest speakers. And as you can probably tell by Patience's pink top, it wouldn't be a big surprise to you. She's into all things Disney. She's crazy about Disney. So it's obviously a very powerful color for you. But you also love 1,000-piece jigsaws. That
Yes.
takes a lot of patience, and yet you say you're not that patient.
Yes.
So yeah, I can't imagine.
I
think
think
that would drive me
I love
crazy.
puzzles. I love
love
puzzles
puzzles.
because it's about strategy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, and you're a die-hard romantic. Oh, isn't that sweet? And you're wearing one of your fabulous branded t-shirts. So what does it say?
It says courage over comfort. So and I'll be
Courage.
talking about courage today.
Yeah, get out of your comfort zone. And you specialize in supporting ladies to do exactly that. So
Yes.
today we're going to be diving into how can we develop our confidence and leadership and mentoring skills. So I'm just going to hand over to you, Patience.
Thank you so much, Dawn. And I have to say, I will start by saying I'm really excited about this, especially because I got accredited with the IAPC&M and was looking forward to being an integral part of the journey and being able to provide this service or share some of my own journey with other people as a mentor and a coach. I'm very grateful for the opportunity as well. So I'll be doing some introductions of myself, and let's see how we spend the next 45 minutes understanding better about how to develop confidence and leadership, either as a leader or an aspiring leader or as a mentor. So let me see if I can start by just a couple of questions. As usual, we're coaches, right? And naturally, we want to start with questions because I don't want you to come here and just sit down and you're taking in from me, but you're not challenging your own self to be thinking about what exactly you're doing here. Because I want you to spend the next 1 hour, let it make a difference to you and to everything that you do. So basically, my first question to you is, do you want to know more about mentorship and explore the strengths that you can use to become an effective mentor? And then if you're here because you know that expanding your leadership knowledge and insights will elevate your capacity to achieve your goals and help others to do the same. I'm sure perhaps that's why you're interested in this topic. You're interested in Mentorship Day. I have met a lot of people in the course of doing a few meetings who ask me a lot of questions around mentorship, and it's becoming very, very even more popular. Or maybe it's because I'm interested in it that it's become more popular for me, because, we see things more when we become more aware of them. And that's the key thing. So you want to know how you can become a person of influence and impact so that you can lead better and motivate people to achieve more. Because in the work that we do as coaches, it's very important that we know how we influence and impact others. And I'm hoping that that's part of the reason why you're here. But also, Perhaps you're ready to step up and be the change and catalyst for transforming people's lives and make a difference. So you might have joined this as somebody who is coming from the corporate space, or you will be watching the live stream from that area, and you want to be the change in your organization. You want to be the change wherever you find yourself. We all have a sphere of influence, and we want to be able to influence people positively. So perhaps you've answered yes. So this is a question that I want you to ponder on. And perhaps maybe with those people who are with me right now live to ask this question, which is, what's your view? Is leadership caught, not taught? What do you think? So anybody want to share, either in the chats? What do you think? If you've heard of this phrase that says leadership is caught, not taught, would you agree? And do you think that's the case or not?
Bit of both.
Hello.
Oh, a bit of both.
Sorry. My signal is quite weak, so it's better when I'm turned off. But just to, I'm not originally English. I would kindly ask you a little bit to explain what. I don't want to maybe misunderstood before I answer.
Oh, okay. So basically, you catch something by maybe being around it, yeah, and learning, experiential learning, for example, the experience of other people, and perhaps they would be teaching you as they go along. But is leadership mainly caught, or is it taught? Something that you can teach someone, i.e., do you think that leadership is something that you have to teach somebody, but not necessarily they experience it?
My opinion is actually personal opinion, but I think this is the actual fact that it's actually caught because leaders are not investing enough to actually teach people, but people are learning just on fly. And if I understood correctly, this is my opinion then.
Oh, okay.
Lydia
that's
says a bit of both. I would have thought, because we say natural born leaders, don't we?
Yes.
So people have this inherently in them. They can obviously learn to define and refine those skills. But I would have thought it was more natural. So caught.
Okay. So, well, depending on your experience of leadership, it can either be caught, it can be taught. Some people don't consider themselves to be natural born leaders. So obviously, by being around other leaders, you can emulate them, so you can catch it. You know, it's contagious in a sense when you can emulate from other leaders. But at the same time, those leaders, as mentors, you're meant to train or teach those around you. So again, leadership skills can then be taught from that point of view. So like Lydia said, it can be a bit of both in most instances. So as we go along, we will explore what leadership is. And basically, I'll be talking a lot about courage. And so we can explore that a bit more. So let me share a bit more about myself. Dawn has already shared some fun things about me, so I will go on to the not so fun stuff, but important stuff for you to know about me. So I'm an accredited coach and mentor. Like I've said, I'm accredited with the IAPC&M, and I'm a trainer, facilitator, and speaker. So prior to now, I've been part of the Maxwell leadership team, where I've done a lot of training, facilitation, and speaking certification as well. I'm an introvert, so a lot of the things I'll be talking to you about will relate to introversion. And not only am I an introvert, I'm a visionary. So again, that's where one of the core areas that I would say my leadership style is mainly visionary. I'm very future focused and helping people to look beyond their reality and project into the future, their future self, basically. So I have 18 years of working in the corporate space as a chartered internal auditor, mainly in service-based organizations. And then in terms of the organizations that I've worked for, I've worked in the public sector, I've worked in PLC, and I've done consultancy, a varied experience, which I love and I'm proud of. Like I said, I'm also a chartered internal auditor with the Chartered Internal Institute of Internal Auditors. I'm also FCCA, which means Association of Chartered and Certified Accountants as well. And I've worked within financial services. And as you can see there, I'm part of the IAPC&M. I keep saying it because I know that that is part of why I'm here, and I'm very proud to be a member. So also I have had opportunity to be nominated for awards and being a finalist at a few business awards as well. In terms of other areas that I work, I speak, train, and coach in the area of introversion, courageous leadership, team dynamics, communication, as well as talk a lot about growth. I'm a DISC certified consultant, as well as emotional intelligence certified as well. And then I've mentioned that I'm an introvert. So my brand is known as the Visionary Introverted Woman brand. And within that, I provide services for introverted female entrepreneurs and leaders, really helping them to create presence, positioning, and profit. And I have created a framework which is known as the Aligned Introvert Method. Within this framework is how I help female entrepreneurs and leaders to achieve the goals that they want. And also, in terms of leadership, I have a CPD accredited program, which is called Increase Your Personal Effectiveness and Influence. And really, what I have found is a lot of managers get into management without having that leadership training, that experience that they need. So part of what this program does is to help those within the corporate space and even entrepreneurs to be able to achieve that increased effectiveness and influence that gives them confidence to lead better their teams. And one of the programs I have created, which really focuses on the first part of the Aligned Introvert Method, is known as Harness Your Strengths for Business Success. And it is all based around the first part, which is the identity piece, around how you can make sure that you align your identity to, to what you do and celebrate who you are as an introvert. So today, so far, we'll be talking about defining mentorship, because today is National Mentorship Day, and I want us to talk a little bit more about mentorship. We'll also talk about leadership skills for effective mentorship. We'll look at a mentor's internal journey of confidence. How do you build confidence to be a leader, or how do you just build confidence to be a great mentor? We'll also look at choosing the right mentorship lane. And then we'll have a few, during the Q&A session, hopefully I'll have a few things before then that we'll be able to use as reflections. How does that sound? That sound good? Like a nice meaty agenda? Let's see how we get on. And hopefully I talk very quick. So we want to talk about mentoring first and define what mentoring is. I love this definition of mentoring by WeWorks, which says mentoring is the process whereby one senior individual is available to a junior to form a non-specified developmental relationship, to seek information from, to regard as a role model, to guide the performer, to provide feedback and appraisal, and to teach all the facts that will enable the individual to perform effectively in an organization. So this is very much focused on an organizational setting, but I like it because it talks about a lot about developmental relationships, and it also talks about feedback, not just appraisals and things like that. So I like it. But there's another definition that I like even more, which is this one, which says a mentor is someone who passes on his or her experience and wisdom by coaching, counseling, guiding, or partnering in every possible permutation, from volunteer tutor to angel investor. So why I love this is because this is how I got into mentorship, really working as a mentor. I really had the passion and desire to pass on my experience. I believe that for any challenges that I have in life to be worthwhile, it needs to be used, it needs to be harnessed, and the lessons need to be disseminated to make sure that other people don't have the same problems or can shorten their learning curve. So I like the fact that it talks about experience, wisdom, and it also talks about the different elements like coaching, counseling, guiding, or partnering. For me, when I do my business coaching, I tend to do a blend of coaching and mentoring, because within that business coaching, you're able to bring in some of your own lived experience. So just to talk a little bit about my mentoring journey and how, so in the corporate space, I didn't regard it as mentoring as such, but I had this empathy towards new recruits, because I always found that when I start in an organization, I didn't get the kind of induction I really wanted or get the support that I felt that I needed. So I was always involved in creating induction processes that will help people along their journey. And this always included things like, what do you need to know next? Or maybe shadowing others to be able to gain that experience that you need. Then at church, I worked on myself, well-being, and everything else. And I decided again that a lot of women did not know the things that I knew. So I went ahead and started sharing it. I created a group known as FAST, which means Faith Aspirations Stronger Together. And it was all about helping us to work together to improve our well-being together. And I facilitated a lot of activities around that. And more recently, I've started doing a group which is around faith and prayers and helping women to tap into that spiritual side that they can use to, deal with mental health, deal with the challenges. As we all know, life is tough at the moment with the way the world can be so depressing. So finding that space where we can come together and feel like we're doing something about it. So youth, again, I, especially in 2020, I felt like things were so boring and a lot of young people were hanging around not knowing what to do with their lives. I got very hands-on with doing a lot of youth mentoring and bringing people together, helping them set up, things that they could do to better themselves. And basically, I was involved with the Young Enterprise, and the team I was involved with went ahead to win awards. So last year, I started off the process of setting up my own community interest company. And as a result of that, I was able to win funding this year from the National Lottery, which I can use now to work with young people. So, there is a passion there for making a difference. And I felt like without the funding, it would just be wishy-washy. I wanted a standard, a great standard of results for the young people. Then in terms of working with women, I will tell you a little bit about my Courageous Leadership Mastermind, which will start in January, believing that, helping develop leaders. And I'm also part of the Help to Grow management scheme, which the government has set up and is funding, where I go and I mentor people on the management program that they are going through. And it's been very rewarding so far. So that's my own journey. That's why I'm also here sharing with you. That's why I'm passionate about it. But also I wanted to bring in a little bit of the introvert side of what I do, because a lot of times, like Dawn rightfully said, some people feel that they are born leaders. And apparently a high percentage, at least maybe as high as 60% of leaders might class themselves as introverts and are very good at what they do. However, from the beginning, many introverts don't consider themselves to be born leaders because they shrink back from the limelight or find it difficult to, engage with a lot of stimulus around the place, and are usually not the loudest in the room. Having said that, sometimes I am the loudest because I love to talk, and if I have something to say, and as a speaker, obviously I've got the mic, so I'm usually the loudest. But technically, most times that's the case. So what are some challenges that introverts typically face, when it comes to either being a leader or operating in the space that they want to position themselves in the marketplace as an authority? Here are some of them: overthinking, overwhelm, overcommitting, and overprotecting. I don't know if anybody here is an introvert and can relate to any of these things, but some of these things are like tripwires that stop introverts from being able to maybe feel that they're leaders, or feel that the challenges are really standing in the way of them being able to develop their leadership skills. I don't know if anybody here can identify with any of these. Right? Let me see in the chat or in the comments if you have anything to add to that. So let's talk about leadership skills for effective mentoring. Let's dive in. Oh, yeah, Lydia says I can relate to that. Okay, great. So overcommitting for sure. Yeah, I get that. I've had that. And again, as a mentor, that's something that, you have to be aware of. You have to be conscious of. So let's look at leadership skills for effective mentoring. So I want to talk about courageous leadership. I have a framework for courageous leadership that I will share right now. And the reason being, I believe that since I work with a lot of introverts who even recently, as recent as last week, I was encouraging someone who was shrinking back from leadership to step up into leadership because that's the next level for them. That's the space that they will get self-actualization. So here is a definition by WeWorks on what courageous leadership is. It's the willingness to express courage, to climb over obstacles, to do what's difficult, and to keep doing that every day. A courageous leader is someone who constantly asks themselves if they're being courageous enough. Courage is a muscle that must be strengthened day by day and choice by choice. So when you think about it, it's very important that every day we're exhibiting courage to live a full life, because as I mentioned in the beginning, life is tough at the moment. So much bad news. When you put on social media, there's so much to be depressed and upset about. So it takes courage to be able to wake up every day, have hope, develop yourself, and be that person that is cheering people on, inspiring them to keep moving forward. So again, it's a muscle as you keep lifting it. The other definition, which is one that I have created, says a courageous leader is what people hope for. They guide and fuel creativity and courage in their followers. When they shine their light in challenging times, they give others permission to do the same. So I believe that that is what mentoring also is, in the sense that once you are modeling what it means to go through challenges, to overcome challenges, to move forward, to cross hurdles, to develop yourself to be better at whatever you do, others will look at you, and especially if you're authentic about it, it's like giving them permission to do the same, giving them permission to move forward. A lot of times people have said to me, you are all over social media. And many times the reason why I do that is because I'm trying to go ahead and inspire other people that are like me, who shrink back, who stay in the background, to come forward and begin to shine their light and position themselves and create presence. So what are the qualities of a courageous leader? So there are 6 qualities that I believe a courageous leader can adapt or adopt in their journey. And this is my framework for that. The first is courage. Obviously, you need to have courage. The second is having the right communication skills. And the third is conviction. Having conviction is all about understanding what your values are and living in accordance with your values. And if you have a mission, a purpose, that conviction is what draws people towards you to follow you, because you will be taking actions based on your conviction. And also capacity. If you don't have capacity, you cannot achieve what you want to achieve. So you need to develop the capacity to go forward and do what you need to do, especially like for introverts who would say, oh, I get overwhelmed. What you need is adaptability and agility. Yesterday, I was at a program for Black Introvert Week. This whole week is Black Introvert Week, and we were focused on working on children's ability to adapt as introverts, both in the classroom, and helping teachers to support students that are introverted in the classroom. And one of the things that was said by one of the speakers was, you can't just put them in a bubble and make sure that they are comfortable and supporting just their introversion. You have to make them recognize that the whole world is not introverted, so they have to find the capacity to be more agile and adopt in the real world when they go to the workplace. So that's, again, as a leader, you need to be thinking about what's my capacity and how can I adapt to the challenges that life throws And then we have commitment. So being committed to a course, being committed to the journey, being committed to either your clients, your mentee, your coach, helping them to achieve the goals that they want to achieve. And finally, charisma. I think there is all sorts of things where people say you have to be assertive as a leader. Well, not everybody feels like they can be assertive. They struggle with imposter syndrome. However, you can have that air of, feeling of connectedness. You have a certain air about you. You have a certain presence about you that warms people to you, that attracts people to you, if you know how to develop it. And then that's the way that you're going to show up every day. So these are the 6 elements and qualities of a courageous leader. What do you think about them? Any comments as to what you think about these 6 qualities that I believe a courageous leader needs to have? Any comments in the chat?
From my personal experience, I can agree. Courage is extremely important. Communication, very, very all the time, because this is the way how you can actually get people to follow you. And also, I would agree regarding charisma. I know that actually leadership can be taught, and there are leadership skills that can be improved and always need to be improved. But if the leaders are having charisma, it's easier to follow them. So this is something what is coming from inside. It doesn't mean that they are behaving differently, but if they are having something, and this charisma, I learned that it's about taking care about people, not showing this, but just having this as a something. It's normal. This is something that can't be actually learned. This is my.
I think you're right, Vesna, and I can see that Lydia agrees with you as well. Charisma is a good point, she said, because I don't think it's something that you can teach, and I guess that's linked to the natural born leaders. There are some people that just have that charisma. It's not arrogance. In fact, it's the exact opposite. They have this natural aura that people want to follow, which makes them leaders. But I would also add that maybe there's 2, because they're all C's, so that it's your 6 C's of 6 quality C's. I would perhaps even add in another 2, if I may, Patience, and that would be capability, which obviously, if you look to your mentor, they've got to have that capability, proven capability. They've got to have compassion as well.
Yes, and we'll talk about that. Capability kind of covers, falls under capacity in terms of, and then the same thing with compassion as well, kind of falls under that, either capacity or courage, because sometimes when you show compassion, you might be seen as weak, right? So you have to have some people, that kind. So it's having the courage to show that. But, we will talk about that as we go along as well. Thank you for those contributions. They've been very valuable and insightful. So again, I want to just pull this through to introverts, like when you talk about natural born leaders, there are I am not quiet. And I can exude a lot of, when I come into the room, I can just have that extroverted kind of behavior. That's what people would define extrovert as. However, there are people that are really quiet. They don't want that kind of attention and things like that. But, developing charisma for them, again, I have strategies that I help them do that. So that it's not just, it's how they show up and what they feel comfortable showing about themselves. So in terms of introvert strengths, again, since I work with introverts, what are some of the strengths that you can exhibit as a courageous leader? Is the quietness and the listening. That's a strength that people value a lot. I have seen a lot of people value it when it comes to coaching. And the deep thinking, taking that considered time to think through and think about things. There is the overthinking side, but then there is the positive of being a deep thinker. You also have deep connections. Introverts or highly sensitive people, which I consider myself to be one, tend to want to build deep connections and invest time in building relationships that last, relationships that are meaningful. And intuitiveness as well. So being able to probably, you might not have all the facts, but you go with your gut feelings sometimes. And sometimes when there are quick decisions that need to be made, your intuitiveness can come to play and add value significantly in those kind of scenarios. So again, just to share a few quotes around leadership to inspire you. I love Shirley Sandberg. And she says, leadership is about making others better as a result of your presence and making sure your impact lasts in your absence. So anybody can choose to be a leader based on this definition, because you can work on how you can help people to appreciate your being around them. And then when you leave them as a mentor, a coach, or whichever way, you leave them better than you found them, isn't it? So that is a great definition for leadership. So let's look at a mentor's internal journey of confidence, because the title of today's session is around confidence as well as leadership. So we want to talk about confidence. Confidence basically means is developed over time as you lead your life, not just live it. So a lot of times you will want to make sure that you are, leading your life. And the more you lead your life, the more you get the results you get, which is the experience piece, and how you are harnessing those challenges and experiences, the more you are able to help other people or feel confident that you can make a difference in other people's lives. So when I was much younger, one of the things I said to myself, I said, confidence means to confide in myself. I needed to convince my own self and my inner critic that I am good enough, I am more than enough, and I am capable. And many times we struggle first. We all try to convince other people, and we go through that process of overly trying to convince other people. But the way you convince other people, you have to convince yourself first. I realized when I was younger that if I didn't love myself, how could I exude that lovability, so to speak, to other people to love me? Because what I was portraying was a kind of not self-acceptance of myself. And if I'm not accepting myself, how am I going to share what is good about myself? So basically, confidence to me means confiding in yourself every day, how great you are, how good you are. And that allows you to show up as somebody who is valuable, somebody who can add value. So confidence is the more you know your strengths and use them, the more confident you become. So again, it's about, to build confidence, you have to know your strengths. And when you know your strengths, you want to lean into them, you want to develop them, and you want to use them effectively. We also say that for confidence, you have to protect yourself from self-doubt by consistently affirming a positive self-image, growing yourself, your leadership skills, and celebrating your successes. So many times, I decided that every Friday is Celebrate Yourself Celebration Day. And I do that deliberately because I always downplay my own achievements. And so one way that I'm able to bring that to the fore is, one, I journal using my journal, which I call the Win Your Day journal. So every day within the Win Your Day journal, I write something to celebrate about. Then on Friday, I will summarize all those things I am celebrating. So for you to build confidence consistently, you need to keep affirming that positive self-image of yourself. Does that sound useful? Does that sound like something that, resonates with each one of you?
I think that's really important point that you've raised there, Patience. I don't think I appreciated the importance of acknowledging ourselves until I got myself a mentor a year ago. And Mac Actram, who has been my mentor for a year, always starts the sessions by, what have you done well? What are you pleased with? What can we celebrate? Now give yourself a round of applause. And it felt really funny and awkward at first. But actually, you start to realize how much you're improving and achieving day in, day out, even the little things. So it's not just about the big things. And as solopreneurs, we can be very isolated and get quite insular and lonely without anybody to share with. So your idea of celebrating yourself, I think, is a lovely idea.
Yeah. And it's quite icky. You're right. I feel icky every time I do the post, like, oh, stop shouting about this. Stop telling people like you are the bee's knees or something. But basically, I do it for myself as well, because nobody would know how much I have achieved. But also, the reflection process I'm going through to record that as a success means that I'm constantly redefining and defining what success really means to me. So it might not be as valuable to anybody else, but to me, it matters. It matters. I know the challenges behind the scenes that I have overcome to accomplish what I have accomplished. So for me, celebrating that reminds myself to say, well done, keep going, you know. And the interesting thing is that you might not see how far you have come, but there are people behind you that can see how far you are. And sometimes when you re-emphasize that, it helps them to also see. And like you said, your mentor is the one doing this for you. That's a great thing. I always say, well done to my mentor, to my mentees or my coachees. I'm like, look at you go with all those actions, you know, because I just think that we don't celebrate enough. And when we don't, and that really erodes the confidence to continue to be, do, and have more.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that.
Lydia says she loves that confide in yourself.
Yes.
Definitely take that. She's had to jump in the car, so there might not be any more comments,
no problem.
but she is listening.
Yeah, that's fine. So, yeah, we want to look at a deep dive into, I thought that what would be useful in terms of leadership is to do a deep dive into the three. I love an interactive session, so I'm not necessarily looking at the time, but hopefully we're going okay. So let's do a deep dive into three of these areas, which is the courage, the communication, and capacity. Let's start with courage. So courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to do things despite fear. Most times as a leader, you have to do it afraid. You know, people are looking up to you. That has happened to me. I have positional leadership in my family, and that means I'm the first of 8. When things happen, they'll be like, let's speak to, in Africa, we call each other auntie when they're older. Let's speak to auntie. And I'm like, for goodness sake, speak to yourselves. I don't know what to do about this. We're all in the crisis. But then I have to take a deep breath and I have to, go ahead and make it happen. But what I have learned over the years is I started out just trying to be that leader that was courageous and brave. But then I started helping my siblings to see their own strengths. And as a result of that, I'm never alone in making those decisions. They come together. So what I would say, a courageous leader is courageous enough to develop other leaders around him or her so that you're not carrying the burden just by yourself. And it also takes courage to speak and courage to be silent. So to me, sometimes it feels like if I'm silent, that means that I'm being a coward. No, but sometimes there are things that you know that saying something in that scenario doesn't help, doesn't work. And people are looking to you to say something because everybody else is doing it. You know, it's like following the crowd. They have to be courageous enough to stay out of it. So courage is not just people that speak out and stand on the forefront and just continue to make the noise. It's for those that are also quiet. So what are some steps that you can take? Courage, or think about in terms of courage and exercising courage. You need to exercise courage for action. You need to exercise courage to change and adapt. And you need to have the courage to lead with empathy and compassion. So like Dawn said, that's where it's coming from. That's where the compassion fits in, because people come to coaches and mentors because they are looking for somebody who will not judge them, who will accept them without judgment, and who will empathize. And a lot of times you are sharing from what you have been through and overcome. So as a result of that, you have to have the courage to have the empathy and compassion. Here is a quote by Jacinda Ardern, who was the Prime Minister of of New Zealand. She did a recent keynote for LinkedIn Connect, and she talked a lot about her journey into leadership, which was like kicking and screaming to get into the space. Well, once she got into the space, she had to do it. So here she says, one of the criticisms I've faced over the years is that I'm not aggressive enough or assertive enough, or maybe somehow because I'm empathic, it means I am weak. I totally rebel against that. I refuse to believe that you cannot be both compassionate and strong. So I think the most compassionate people are actually strong people as well. But that, as Don said, sometimes being compassionate can lead to overcommitting. So it's finding that balance as well and being able to create your boundaries. So that's something you've got to learn. So at this point, I just wanted to share, this is a code for my Courageous Leadership Mastermind, which I'm starting in January. It's got all the details around the action. So courage to take action, courage to learn the kind of actions you need to take. You can go ahead and scan and have a look at what this contains and what it entails. And it's a 6 weeks leadership mastermind. And my belief is that constantly working on your leadership, working alongside other like-minded people, growing together is the best approach to go about it. So that's a code for looking at that. So the next deep dive we want to look at is communication. Now, one of the interesting things is that people say the most dangerous thing about communication is the assumption that it has taken place when it hasn't. So it's always important to, understand what communication means. So communication is impacting or exchanging of information by speaking, writing, or using some other form or medium. I like the word impacting as well as exchanging, because with the word impacting, you understand that as a leader, that's what you're constantly doing. Leaders have to share a vision. They have to help people catch the vision and the mission and follow through with actions and things they need to do. Even as mentors, that's the case as well. So communication, having that element of impacting is very useful. Also, communication facilitates employee engagement, relationships, trust, and teamwork. For people to trust you, when you give people the necessary details that they need, they learn to trust you, right? So that's the key thing. They learn to trust that you will deliver, explanations and understanding. And it could be that you provide feedback as well in the process of communicating. That way as well, you're building relationships, you're building trust, knowing how you do that properly. So what are some of the ways that you improve communication? You continue to engage. Make sure that you're engaging. And like I said in the beginning of this session, I said that the most dangerous thing is to assume that communication has taken place when it hasn't, and therefore leaving people without the information that they need. So you need to be able to be somebody who engages constantly, either with, for example, as a business person, I heard when I first started out in business that you need to make people aware of what you do at least 7 times. But these days, with the amount of noise on social media, it's 20 times. Put something in front of someone 20 times before they take action. So you need to have that constant awareness of engaging. Also, either as a mentor or coach, you need to be prepared. Preparation always helps with communication. So you need to prepare what you want to say. You need to prepare how you're going to deliver it. That way you've thought through for the other person. And you also need to, in the preparation, be aware, especially for someone like me who is a DISC consultant. I know that people absorb information in different ways with different personalities. When I coach my clients who are in management and who need to probably speak to top leader, I'll ask them, what do you think is their best way of receiving information from you to get that result that you want? So some of them don't know and they have to go find out, because I was once told that, people like Jeff Bezos, he comes into meetings and asks you for just 1 page. He doesn't want a bundle. He just wants the page. He doesn't want all that bundle and all those graphs. He just wants a page, and you need to be ready to do that. So preparation is part of. Then facilitating communication. So when people are not engaging, talking to you, how do you facilitate their own engagement, being able to talk back to you, being able to respond to what you're saying? And also, obviously, we know that in coaching, you would facilitate the ability of that person to dig deep and ask themselves those hard questions. Yeah. So communication is part of a leadership skill. And we have the nice Tony Robbins here, who says to effectively communicate, we must realize that we are all different in the way we perceive the world, and use this understanding as a guide to our communication with others. So basically, when you're communicating, you need to be very much aware that people around you are different from you. And like Steve Covey always says, seek to understand rather than be understood. He always says that. And he says, again, the in his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he talks about the fact that if you work at having a win-win scenario, the world will become a better place for us all. So the third one is capacity. And we said that capacity is the level of input and output that a person can handle at any given moment. So basically, if you feel like you don't have enough capacity to do what you need to do, to lead, to direct, to mentor, how do you build that capacity to do that? And capacity can be diminished or increased over time. Courageous leaders always seek to increase their capacity. Like I said, capacity for me and capability kind of go hand in hand. Constantly learning, constantly developing yourself. So what does leadership consist of in terms of when it comes to developing that capacity? For me, there is a quote by John Maxwell that says, everything rises and falls on leadership. And I believe that that's true, because we need to understand that people around us, to do business, you have to be capable of influencing people. As a family member, if you're a mother, you have to be able to influence your partner, you have to be able to influence your children, so influence in itself is power. So that's another element of building your capacity. How do you build your capacity to influence people in a positive way? Also, building your capacity to offer service in a way that is aligned with who you are, aligned with your strength, doesn't drain your energy, maintains your boundaries. So leadership is also service. So if you break it down in that way, you're able to tell yourself, how do I build capacity to influence people effectively in a positive way, to take action or get results? How do I offer the best service to people so that they leave fulfilled, satisfied, refer, come back again, achieve their goals? So why is it important? Leadership is elevated thinking and elevating others. So when you think about leadership, that is exactly what it is. And that's why you need to build the capacity, because if you don't have the capacity to uplift yourself, how are you uplifting and elevating other people? So you need to build your own capacity. So you need to feel empowered as a leader. A leader helps others to achieve greatness, freedom, and empowerment. But if you yourself feel disempowered, how are you going to empower other people? So building leadership capacity is very vital. And then I said leadership is caught, not taught. So that is a phrase I have heard. And I realize that many times when you read all the books, I agree with leadership is caught more than taught, because I started off in the John Maxwell team like 6-7 years ago, but I started to develop more of my leadership skills in 2020 when I niched down and started working with introverted people, because I realized that this is a tribe of people that are looking up to me if I say I'm introverted and I've achieved all the goals I've achieved. So I needed to, model what that looks like as an introvert existing in an extroverted world. And I have found that a lot of people have come back to me and said, oh, because I can see you doing these things, I feel more encouraged to do them. So while I was learning all the head knowledge and actually disseminating it, I had to go and do that experiential learning for myself. I had to put myself in a leadership position and learn my leadership style as I go along. So that is my argument around catching leadership as opposed to just teaching it or being taught. So in terms of How you can increase your capability, you develop a growth plan for yourself. What are your growth gaps when it comes to leading others or mentoring? Challenge yourself, and we shall expand on that a little bit more. Nurture your strengths and leverage the strengths of others. That is how you develop leadership capability. You leverage the strengths of others, you nurture your own strengths and harness them and use them, and you put yourself in those learning situations, growth environment. So how do you challenge yourself more to build capacity? Basically, find challenges. I know that's hard, right? Who wants to go looking around and finding challenges? This can be a painful experience, isn't it? But find challenging situations that stretch you, that make you better. So yesterday I came from Heathrow and I drove into London. Nightmare. I hate driving into central London, but I figured out that driving there has given me another level of confidence and capability, because I figured out ways of navigating, not knowing where to park, not knowing some few things, and coming back home. So when you come across challenges, which we can't avoid in life, face them with courage, and then facilitate for others around you challenges. So create challenging opportunities for people around you to grow. Because if you want to be surrounded by leaders, you need to create the kind of challenges that will help them expand their capability. So we're almost towards the end. And the last part of it is, how do you choose the right mentorship lane for yourself? So I've got 3 key questions here that I believe will help you make those decisions or choose the right mentorship lane. The first one is, where did I have the most struggle in life and in my career? Because in those places, you have empathy for other people. Yeah. And that is a question. When you begin to dive deep into that question, you will come up with the area that you can mentor others, the specific area, especially the most painful. Then how did I survive and break through? So basically, what strategy have you used at the time to be able to develop the skills to survive and break through and cross that hurdle in your life? The third one is, what do I currently do to maintain success? So whatever you are doing to maintain success, that's your mastery, that's your area of expertise. So these 3 key questions can help you say, this is the area that I'm going to be a great mentor. So almost towards the end now. I don't know. I wanted us to take some time to pause and reflect, because I hate talking at people so much without getting any feedback. So I have devised a couple of questions here to help you do that reflection process. So I don't know if we can take just 5 minutes or 2 minutes, because I don't have a lot of time before we do any Q&A. To ask yourself just these questions around leadership. So we can take 2 minutes and take a look at this and ask yourself, am I below expectations, meeting or exceeding in these areas? I show great initiative. I am good at active listening and challenging. I'm great at encouraging innovative ideas. I know and use my strengths to help others. I always hold people accountable for their actions. I'm great at giving others feedback to improve. It is clear that I earn the respect of others. So let's take 2 minutes, like you said, Dawn, and maybe have a look at these questions. And then maybe as part of the final Q&A, we just share what answers we've given or how we felt about the questions. Is that okay, Dawn?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. I do not have a clock here, so I'm just gonna okay, I'm gonna keep my eye on it.
One.
Okay.
At the bottom, when you say coach or mentor I connect with, do you mean mentee? Somebody that you want to mentor?
No, so for yourself, whatever you've scored
the type
yourself
of mentor
here,
you want to hire.
Yeah, to take a look and help you improve on your own leadership skills.
Okay.
And yeah.
All right. 2 minutes.
Okay. Okay, are we happy?
Okay.
Do we have to? Okay. I saw a comment by you, Dawn, here, where you talked about ask open questions, and I'm not sure which section that was. Was that under communication?
I think it was about the
Facilitating.
communications.
Okay.
Yeah, you were asking how do you do that, and I said, well, asking open questions creates that conversation. Then you went on to the Tony Robbins slide. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yes, facilitating conversations. Okay. Great. So does anybody want to share? Did you find that useful at all to to do? And just look at yourself. We always put a mirror and take a look at ourselves from time to time.
Yeah, I
How
agree.
much?
These are great questions for leaders. I tried to go for myself. I'm meeting, in average, I'm meeting. In some items, I'm exceeding. In one, I'm below expectations. But I was trying to actually do this quiz for me, and yeah, okay. But I was also taught leader, so it's not only that.
That's great.
I just, yeah.
That's useful. At least it gives you something to go back and have a look at for your own leadership development and who you might want to speak to or the work you might want to do around it.
That's one of
Yeah,
the
it's
criteria
great.
at the IAPC&M, isn't it? Is to have self-reflection as part of your ongoing CPD. Otherwise, you become quite stagnant. And, you know, even I can't remember who the CEO is of Google at the moment. He was talking about having his own mentor. You know, everybody, every leader needs a mentor because it helps you brainstorm the ideas, prioritize, and then obviously feedback the results. So yeah, everybody needs a mentor.
I think it's also about recognizing that you have we all have blind spots. And one of the phrases I love to use is you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. So somebody outside the picture sees the frame, but you can't see it when you're so much in the picture. So basically doing this kind of exercise allows you, for one, to try and see how you can step out and look back at your own capabilities. And then secondly, you then decide, which is part of why you do the exercises, do I need a mentor or coach, someone who can help me through in any of these areas to develop it and improve it? Do I want to improve it? Am I satisfied with below expectations? Those kind of questions. Yeah. So, okay. Thank you for doing that. I'm glad you found it useful. So do you have, are there any questions? Are there any things that you might want to have conversations around to discuss?
Well, I would like to know, Patience, is IAPC&M members always love a discount. So what is the discount exclusively for IAPC&M members? If it's not too cheeky to ask, you can answer that question offline if you want, or you can share it.
Yes, I will answer it offline and then I can share it with, with you.
I will make sure that our members get that, because we're always looking for the best return on investment, because our members are passionate about their CPD. So we will promote a special discount to them. And what talking about discounts, I would also say that for IAPC&M members only, if somebody wants to add a combo accreditation, so mentoring to their coach accreditation, instead of the usual fee of £300, for this month only, it's £150. And you can take all of the next 12 months to qualify. So just email me and I will get that organized for you, so that you will obviously amend your contract accordingly to say that you're offering coaching and mentoring. You need to make it really clear in the contracting stage. And when you're coaching somebody, oh, I think it would perhaps be helpful if I put my mentoring hat on right now to help you through this. So if you want to kickstart 2024 having a combo accreditation this month only, you can do it for £150 instead of £300.
So, Dawn, I have a question, if I may just ask.
Yes.
I'm just preparing for the coaching accreditation.
Yeah.
I'm now actually certified coach, and I'm also working on coaching hours and all other materials. So how can I add also this accreditation for mentoring?
Yeah. So you would pay your invoice because it's valid for this month only in celebration of today. And then you've got all year till end of 24 to do the necessary, very similar to your coach accreditation certification. So you'll do a live mentoring call when you're ready. You'll build your mentoring hours on your mentoring log and so on. It's that sort of thing. David will talk you through it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Great. Any other questions or any comments that you might want to make? I know Lydia is offline, so, and again, if people want to send in their message or their comments as this is being live streamed, by all means.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it'll be on Facebook, LinkedIn. So I would suggest, Patience, that you keep an eye on it and you can engage directly. If anybody's a bit shy, because normally my VA, Gillian, would be sending me questions in, but anybody who's got questions, we can directly deal with them on the social media pages. Even if you think of something at the end of the day or tomorrow, it's absolutely fine. Patience and I will be looking out for your questions. So we're bang on time. So that is fantastic. Well done, Patience. Very high energy, very colorful, like your t-shirt, and lots of great content there. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you for your questions, your participation. Have a fabulous day. The next call coming up is at where's my page gone? Oh, there it is. At 2:30 UK time, so 3:30 CET time, when we will have Eric give another great masterclass. So that will be masterclass number 3. So I'll see you in a bit. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.